أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Hamid Abdurrahman. Today I'll be presenting my paper, Islamic Existential Psychotherapy as Intervention for Inter-Psyche Conflicts in Jinn Possession. First of all, we go to the definition of possession as defined in ICD 11. In ICD 11, possession trance disorder is characterized by trance state in which there is a marked alteration in the individual state of consciousness, and the individual's customary sense of personal identity is replaced by an external possessing identity in which the individual's behaviors or movements or experience has been controlled by the possessing agent. So this external possessing identity is called Jinn in Islam. Jinn possession is embedded in the Islamic faith, and Jinn has the ability to transform itself, okay, from one state to another, like into a snake or into a human, as in the case of an impersonation of Surakah bin Malik. There has been a study on the symptoms of Jinn possession. Okay, in the study, 34 symptoms were analyzed, and 23 symptoms were identified as being significant symptoms of Jinn possession, with the other 11 symptoms are considered as less significant symptoms. And if you scrutinize the symptoms, you will see that some symptoms are also symptoms of mental disorders. First of all, we need to know, okay, what are the human components? Okay, we have a tangible component, which is our jasad, our body, and we also have the intangible component, which is akal, the qalb, and the ruh. Okay, the akal and the qalb together is equivalent to psyche or the mind from the Western perspective. Also, whenever we say the mind in Islam, it's not just the akal, it's a combination of akal and the qalb. Okay. So if something is wrong with our body, then we have to fix our body. If something is wrong with our psyche, our akal, then we have, or qalb, then we have to fix that. If there is no possession, then our mind can control our central nervous system. Our mind can instruct our brain and do whatever it likes. Okay, but if the jinn enters our human body, then there will be our mind plus the jinn's mind. All right, and these two will have to compete to control our central nervous system, the brain. In the model for jinn possession, okay, we have our human psyche as well as jinn psyche. And the jinn psyche can compete with human psyche, or the jinn psyche can compete with another jinn psyche. So there can be conflicts. Okay. In the Western model, you only have the human psyche inside the human body. So any conflicts is just a conflict of your own mind. There's no conflict between your mind and something else. Whereas in this model, the jinn possession model, is not just conflict within your mind, but your mind can also conflict with the jinn's mind. So if you have the Western model, which is just that part, the Islamic model is a superset of the Western model. So when there is conflict, okay, we're talking about power balance, power struggle. Okay. So with this power struggle, okay, it can create changes in your personality. We have to bear in mind that not all Western theories are correct or can be accepted as it is. Okay, for example, okay, Freud's Oedipus and Electra complex were based on Greek myth, and Freud's penis envy theory can be considered to be absurd. Okay, but people accept it. Okay, now the conflict within the human body between the human psyche and the jinn psyche can result in changes in personality. Okay, it depends on which psyche is stronger. If the Jinn psyche is stronger, then obviously it can exhibit its own personality. So we can have an alternative explanation for mental disorders. For example, bipolar disorder can be the Jinn psyche was able to overpower the human psyche and create extreme mood changes in the person. Or dissociative identity disorder can be the Jinn psyche overpowering the human psyche and exhibiting a new personality. And cases where there are multiple personalities is the result of many genes. So if you take out one gene, you have one personality left. So all this, okay, when we talk about gene possession, we need an approach to therapy to deal with gene possession. Well, if you just consider the single psyche model, the Western framework, you have a therapy which just fixes the mind. Okay, and then you can have Islamic psychology, which is based on the Western framework, which also fix the mind, but in addition, add some spiritual factors, spirituality to fix the akal as well as qalb. But with the new multiple psyche model, we have to think about gene possession as well. Okay, so it's not just fixing the akal and the qalb, but it's also about getting rid of the gene. So you need psychotherapy plus exorcism to get rid of the problem. Why? Why is the need for psychotherapy? Because have you seen the symptoms of gene possession include psychological symptoms as well? Okay, so there are symptoms. Okay, for example, the gene, for it to survive in the human body, will try to make the human weak by having less protection or by not doing as much as it can do or is supposed to do. For example, okay, I will let the person having aversion from remembering Allah, so there's no help from Allah, make it loner so that you can advise the person more, commit sins again, you're depriving the help from Allah, eating junk food, making the jinn better, but not yourself, laziness, loss of focus, and so on. And all these symptoms can be overcome through psychological intervention. Okay. Furthermore, exorcism, okay, if you try to exorcism, it does not guarantee that the jinn will leave. Sometimes you do ruqyah, whatever, okay, the jinn is still there. Then the person might have to live with the rest of life with the jinn inside. So you have to deal with the psychological symptom, how to deal with the jinn inside you for the rest of life or for the duration that you're under treatment until the jinn goes out. So a new psychotherapy approach will have to include the recognition of jinn possession and address the intra and inter-psyche conflicts. Okay. So one of the approach of psychotherapy that we can use is existential psychotherapy. So what is existential therapy? It's a psychotherapy approach which uses existential philosophy as an approach to therapy. Okay. So it includes philosophical themes. It focuses more on life rather than on personality. Okay, the meaning and purpose of life. Okay, and in fact, actually, existentialism is not something which is new. Okay, even though when we talk about Western existential philosophy, it refers to existentialists of the 19th and 20th century, but in Islam, it's long been discussed. Okay, even Al-Farabi is widely accepted as the first to make the decision between existence and essence. So applications of psychotherapy, existential psychotherapy, you can take the philosophy of Kierkegaard, which is based on the Christian philosophy, the leap of faith. Okay, you believe in something, then you can make it happen, and it will happen. Okay, but you have to have this leap of faith. Okay, even though it doesn't make sense, it can happen. Or you can take the atheistic philosophy of Nietzsche, who put a notion that God is dead. Okay, so in Western existential psychotherapy, they say, okay, God is dead. So if you've got a problem, don't blame God, blame yourself. Fix it yourself. Okay, why do you have to blame on God? Obviously, in Islam, we are not allowed to say we don't believe that God is dead. God is always alive. Okay, so but this is how philosophy is being used in psychotherapy. When we talk about Islamic existential psychotherapy, we are actually using Islamic existential philosophy, and we're not taking any of the Western philosophical baggage. Okay, everything will have to be from the Islamic philosophy, Islamic existential philosophy. So when we talk about existential issues, it has got to include the human existential issues as well as the Jinn existential issues, because we live in the same time space. All right. Okay. So our existence is affected by the unseen, the invisible creation. Okay. And in Islamic existential philosophy, we can find ways of how to strengthen the heart through spiritual practices, strengthening the akal, through challenging false belief, with coping mechanism, the trust in Allah, okay, and so on. Okay. But the fact that we have to believe that, okay, gene possession is real. So when the gene is in the body, the severity is greater. Okay, take control of the person physically, not just psychologically. Therapy must also include, okay, the psychological intervention to deal with these influences or suggestions from the gene to overpower the person. So in short, okay, Islamic existential psychotherapy is a radical approach because there is a radical multi-psyche model of gene possession. So that model requires a new radical psychotherapy approach. We can't just ignore the inter-psychic conflicts between gene and the human. Islamic existential psychotherapy is based on not just the akli knowledge, like in the West, but also the nakli knowledge, which is derived from the Quran and the Sunnah. Is this in practice? Yes, Islamic existential psychotherapy is real, or probably the one and only, is PISANG therapy, which is therapy for gene possession. Thank you very much.